The hunt for perfect fragrances never comes to an end. You know, I'm always looking for that next best thing. I think that's one of the things that is so appealing about this hobby is the fact that not only are there tens of thousands of fragrances pre-existing that you can explore and try and find, but there's new ones being released constantly every year as well. And just when you think that you found a couple that are just 10 out of 10 amazing, they're the best you've ever smelled, and you don't think it can get much better, a lot of the time it can, you just haven't found it yet. So today we're going to go over a few fragrances that I think are just 10 out of 10 perfect. I wouldn't change a thing about these. Each for their own reasons as well, and you'll kind of see that as we go through each of these here. We're going to get things kicked off with Guerlain Patchouli Paris. This one has patchouli, no surprise, some ambergris going on, and a nice, sweet, creamy iris accord. This smells so nice, and not at all what I was expecting. You know, typically patchouli fragrances generally, at least the ones that I'm most familiar with, are more green, more woody, a little bit more earthy. This is in a completely different category. I mean, I already read off the notes there, but one in particular that stands out that I'm a big fan of is iris. And typically, you don't really see a whole lot of that. You don't see patchouli heavy forward scents going in with iris and things like that to sweeten it up. But they're doing it here. This is a fantastic blend. It still has this mature, gentlemanly, kind of green aspect from that patchouli accord, but it's multifaceted. It's not just green all the way through. It does have some layers to it. The ambergris is giving you a little bit of a brightness, a little bit of a freshness, although you could not call this scent fresh. It definitely isn't, but it helps to push it in that direction a tiny bit. And then that iris is what this really focuses on quite a bit as well, to just sweeten it up, give it a bit more of a powdery feel. Typically you think of patchouli and you think of, again, something green or something along those lines, but this bottle is, the coloration is not green, but it still comes together and provides you with something that is just out of the ordinary for this type of scent. And it's no surprise that Guerlain, they know how to make fragrances. They've been doing it for so long. It's really all that they do pretty much. And they have a lot of amazing releases, which I don't even come close to owning all of them. There are so many. For the most part, I'm kind of in the more affordable side of things with Guerlain. And that's the great thing about them is they do have amazing scents that you can buy for $70, $80, $90, $100, or they have some things like this which are going to cost you a bit more. Either here nor there, they make amazing fragrances. This is one of many from the brand that I believe to be a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. Okay, this next one is an Armani Acqua di Gio. So like I said, we're just going to be going all across the board here, all over the place. No rhyme or reason for the ranking or the order of any of these fragrances. We're just going to be jumping around. And a lot of people are laughing, oh, an Acqua di Gio, it can't be that perfect. You know, it's just sometimes you might be surprised, right? And for me, this is what I look for in a fragrance. It's Acqua di Gio Absolute, a discontinued one that you can get right now. But when it first came out, you know, I don't really think anybody knew what to expect. This was before they were pumping out flankers every year. And that's kind of what they've been doing now. They've even been just re-releasing things for apparently kind of, it seems like, no reason. You know, they're basically taking it and now it's Acqua di Gio Eau de Toilette 2025, right? And they tweak the bottle a little bit and they do some different things. They've done that with Profondo and they've even messed around with the Parfum a little bit, changing the bottle size and all of this and that, right? So they're a lot more active with releases now. But back at the time that this one came out, they weren't doing that. We had Profumo, we had, for a time being, we had a Senza, and then a couple like limited edition bottles like Acqua di Gio Blue, something along those lines. Again, it doesn't matter a whole lot, but they didn't have as much going on. So when this one came out, it had a lot of buzz because, again, we weren't used to seeing flankers from the brand or from the lineup as often as we do now. And so that was kind of leaving you guessing, what's it going to be like? And this, to me, again, is what I'm looking for. It's a bright, fresh, aquatic, wearable summer scent that truly embodies the smell and the essence of summertime. It is amazing. I love going back and revisiting this one because given the fact that it's discontinued, I don't wear it as much. I'm a little bit more stingy with things like that. But every time I do go back and smell this one again, especially actually spraying it, it is satisfying. This one has sea notes, tonka bean, amberwood. You get some bergamot in here as well, and a little bit of pear, just kind of giving it a bit of a sweet fruitiness. So, the elephant in the room is that it's kind of in that Invictus Aqua, Rassasi House DNA. And it is, however, still different, mainly because, well, it ties back to that original Aqua de Jo. You're still getting some of that OG Aqua de Jo aquatic styling in here. You're getting some sweetness, which is not uncommon in the House Invictus Aqua DNA, but it's a different type here. It comes across a little bit differently. More focus on woods in Aqua de Jo Absolute compared to not a whole lot of focus on woods in Invictus Aqua and so forth. And it's very common for things to be released that are kind of in a similar category, but yet with a different twist, and that's what this one is. I'll drop a link down below. If you want to grab a bottle of this, I would recommend just doing it if you have any interest while you can, because aside from going on eBay and getting scammed by a fake or just not getting anything shipped to you at all, right now is about the only time you can actually get a legitimate bottle of this one from a trusted source. So I'll drop it down below. It's been in stock for a while now. Everybody who's been on my mailing list and stuff, they've got theirs already. But if you've missed out, get yours while you can. This next one is Parfums de Marly Carlisle. If I really were to sit down and try to rank my favorite Parfums de Marly scents in order, really starting at what's my number one favorite, I think if I really put in some effort into doing that, Carlisle would probably end up on top. Now, luckily, I don't have to do that. I probably never will do that because things change so often. New releases from PDM, which it's kind of hard to beat some of these OG ones, but also just time of year, mood, occasion, and a number of things. But really, though, when it comes down to it, it is so hard for me to beat Carlisle. There's something about this one that smells amazing. This one has vanilla, nutmeg, patchouli, tonka. It smells just smoky, resinous, sweet, and interestingly enough, you guys know Layton very well, kind of has that menthol kind of freshness, more so in the fact that you can feel it physically in your nose when you smell it. This has some of that too, so I don't know if that's just a signature PDM thing that they've done across a couple of their scents, on purpose, or if it's just some, mixture of notes or aroma chemicals that they're using to provide that. But I get that heavily in Layton. A lot of people have noted that over the years, and I get that quite a bit in Carlisle as well, and I love it. I think it's really cool. So if you want a woody, resinous, sweet scent that's kind of in a similar category to something like Mancera Red Tobacco, although way more wearable, Carlisle will be something I would definitely look into. Now, obviously, there's a major difference in price, but there's also a major difference in usability as well in favor of Carlisle. This is much easier to pull off and way more mass-pleasing and way more safe than something like Mancera Red Tobacco. So there's a trade-off there. There is not a single thing I would change about Carlisle. The performance is beast mode. The quality is amazing from start to finish. The blend, the composition is great. Again, not trying to rank things, and choose favorites that much, but if I had to, that probably would be it. And, Layton might be right behind it, probably, and then Hobdon after that. But that's just me spitballing right now. I love Carlisle. Let's go for something more affordable because these first three have been on the more expensive end of things. This one is about $39 to $40 right now. It's Roberto Cavalli Uomo. Just the original. Now, I understand that they have changed the bottle presentation. They have. It looks different now. However, you could still get this style bottle for $40 right now if you want to add this one to your collection and, have one of the old style bottles. This one has violet, honey, tonka bean, some saffron as well. Great fragrance. This entire lineup is great. Lenote, Deep Desire, Silver Essence, and of course this one, that's the 4. They're all great. Now, unfortunately, the other 3 are discontinued, so we're only left with this. I wish that during their rebottling process here, they would bring those other existing flankers back just in a new bottle if that's what they're trying to do. But that hasn't happened yet. Who knows? They're all really good. Lenote is probably my favorite, followed by Deep Desire. And don't get me wrong, this original's great too. I was just talking about the flankers there as far as what I liked besides this one. This original is going to be the most wearable one. That's probably why they kept this one around and not any of the others. That, and also this is the first one within the lineup. It is sweet, but it's also mature. It's got this more so classic gentleman masculine feel to it, which is kind of uncommon in this price range. A lot of things, not everything, but a lot of things, you know, $40, $30 or so are going to be a little bit more youthful smelling. Now, that's not to say that there aren't $150 to $200 scents that also aren't youthful smelling, because there are plenty that are. So price is not, you know, a factor of that to the fullest extent. But a lot of the time, your cheaper scents are going to appeal to younger guys most generally. But this one, not so much. And don't get me wrong, really anybody could wear this as long as you like it, but I think it would have a track record for, you know, attracting people who want something a little bit more mature and refined. All right, this next one is Fahrenheit Les Parfums by Dior. Been a favorite of mine for a long time, and that's no secret. This one has rum, it has suede, a little bit of violet leaf as well, no surprise there. Basically, it's taking that original Fahrenheit DNA and just adding some sweetness to it, which is welcomed and might not be your first idea, your first thought, because Fahrenheit is so fresh and so floral leaning with all that violet and stuff going on, and kind of watery as a result of that as well. You might not think of that, but when you smell this, you realize that, man, there's definitely some room for improvement as far as basically extracting a winter or fall scent out of that DNA, and that's exactly what they did here. At this point, this is the last flanker that stands. So as far as the Fahrenheit lineup goes, it's Fahrenheit EDT and Les Parfums. Everything else is discontinued. This is a 75 ml bottle, the only size that it comes in, and typically you're looking at around $115 or so on average. You know, price per milliliter is a bit higher than some others, but yet for the money, it is well worth it. So, you know, less is more with this one. You don't need a ton of sprays to get good results out of it. This next one is Dolce & Gabbana, the One Eau de Parfum. Again, you know, I found this one. I mean, I didn't find it, obviously, but I smelled it a very long time ago on a blind buy, of course, just because it was so highly rated, and one of the best decisions I made buying this one, really. I mean, it has brought so much enjoyment to me over the years. I've finished a full 100 ml bottle. This is another one of my 100 ml bottles, and I've got, or at one point I did have a 150 ml, but I don't know even what happened to that one. But I digress. The One EDP is, it's been a staple in my collection for basically since the beginning. This is one of the first like sweeter tobacco scents that I ever bought, because when I first started off, I was basically only buying fresher aquatic scents. So this really opened my eyes to just how many other great things in different genres were out there. You can get 100 ml testers of this one for like $49 right now, which was always the going price, but these days typically is around $65 to $70 for 100 ml. So kind of nice flashback to old days pricing there. 49 bucks right now. I'll link this one down below as well. It's an easy masterpiece that I can never be without. Valentino Uomo Intense is another one from that era for me, as far as just getting this around that time as well. A little bit later. I did get Dior Homme Intense before this one, I believe, but not too long after. Got a bottle of this and never looked back. I'm sure you guys know about this one, so I don't need to explain it, but it has the iris note, which is what makes this what it is, although the difference is leather. Okay, Dior Homme Intense, Gentleman EDP, those three, this one included, you know, were the three main iris fragrances within that time period, and the only one to use leather was Uomo Intense by Valentino. It's a really nice welcomed masculine edge to the otherwise pretty sweet, creamy DNA, and powdery as well. Now, if you stepped up to something like Dior Homme Parfum, you could get some leather thrown in, but that's just a completely different animal entirely. Along with that leather, you're getting oud and rose and an even heavier, sweeter iris too. So it doesn't quite work out that way for you if you're just wanting something more traditionally masculine. Valentino Uomo Intense would be your choice of those three or I guess 4. But keep in mind, still is sweet and powdery. We're going to finish this video off with a Kilian. You know, right around this time every year, basically end of August, beginning parts of September, my collection landscape changes. And as far as like my favorite niche brand, when it comes to fall and winter, it is without a single question Kilian Paris. There's no thought process involved to get to that idea. It is just, that is the brand I lean on the most niche-wise when it comes to selecting my fall and winter scents. You know, I love my Creeds for the summer. I love my Rosias primarily for the spring, summer as well, although Enigma and stuff, great for fall and winter too. But Kilian, they just basically, they know how to do gourmands the best. And one of many that I really, really enjoy is Old Fashioned. I love this stuff. Wheat, cedar, and tolu balsam in here. It's basically what you would expect from the brand, kind of leaning into that apple brandy aspect. Apple brandy / single malt a little bit. That's kind of the category that this one fits into. Basically a sweet, kind of boozy, rich, syrupy, strong type of winter scent that is not for the faint of heart. This is one of their newer releases, but to me, it's still one that pretty quickly became an instant love. Alrighty guys, that's gonna do it for me. Some 10 out of 10 perfect fragrances that I've discovered and I've just loved ever since then. As I mentioned, the hunt never stops, and so who knows what's in store for the future. There's a lot of really interesting new releases on the horizon. Speaking of Roja, Elysium Noir is now available at full retail, which is $380, which I don't feel comfortable with, so I'm probably not going to buy it at that price. I'm going to wait till discounters, but that one has the potential to be really good. And then there's a few others that are catching my eye as well, along with all the stuff I have never tried yet anyway. So these are just some of my favorites that came to mind first right now. Links to every single one of these will be down below. If you want to get notified of the best fragrance deals, discontinued, hard to find things, and so on, subscribe to my mailing list at the first link down below. It's free. Also, just subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out my community tab on a daily basis. I'll get you hooked up with some great stuff at super low prices. Trust me, you're going to want to make sure you stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.